Good morning, students. I am Riya Sinha, your assistant teacher. Today we are going to discuss our fourth chapter of history, that is in the earliest cities. It might be possible that it is given as chapter number 3 in some of your book. Some of you are having new edition in which it is given as chapter number 3, but we will continue it as chapter number 4. Okay, so it is our chapter number 4 in the earliest cities. See, in this chapter we are going to discuss about our earliest cities, and in this chapter basically we are going to discuss about Harappan cities, Harappan civilization. So let's start the chapter. See the first topic, the story of Harappa. Very often old buildings have a story to tell. Nearly 150 years ago, when railway lines were being laid down for the first time in the Punjab, engineers stumbled upon the site of Harappa, that is in present-day Pakistan. To them, it seemed like a mound that was a rich source of ready-made, high-quality bricks. So they carried off thousands of bricks from the walls of the old buildings of the city to build railway lines, and many buildings were completely destroyed. See, in this paragraph, we come to know that around 150 years ago, when railway lines were being laid down for the first time in Punjab, then engineers found a site of Harappa. At that time, it was like a mound that was a rich source of ready-made high-quality bricks. So they carried off thousands of bricks from there and then built railway lines. Many buildings were completely destroyed. Then, about 80 years ago, archaeologists found the site and realized that this was one of the oldest cities in the subcontinent. As this was the first city to be discovered, all other sites from where similar buildings and other things were found were described as Harappan. These cities developed about 4700 years ago. 80 years ago from now, archaeologists found the site, and this was the first city to be discovered. These cities developed about 4700 years ago. Now, what was special about these cities? Why we are going to learn about these things? So, many of these cities were divided into two or more parts. Usually, the part of the west was smaller but higher. Archaeologists describe this as the citadel. Generally, the part of the east was larger but lower, and this is called the lower town. Very often, walls of baked brick were built around each part. The bricks were so well baked that they have lasted for thousands of years. The bricks were laid in an interlocking pattern, and that made the walls strong. Okay, see, in these cities, basically, the whole area were divided into two parts. In the west, that was a higher part and smaller also. Archaeologists describe that part as citadel. Generally, the part to the east was larger but lower, and it is called the lower town. The bricks were so well baked of these cities that they have lasted for thousands of years, and these are laid in an interlocking pattern that made the walls strong. Even in some cities, special buildings were constructed on the citadel. For example, in Mohenjo-daro, a very special tank which archaeologists called the Great Bath was built in this area. In citadel, a western part of the city which was smaller and higher, a very special tank was built known as Great Bath. This was lined with bricks coated with plaster and made watertight with a layer of natural tar. There were steps leading down to it from two sides, while there were rooms on all sides. That Great Bath was made with brick and coated with plaster, and there were steps leading to it from two sides, while there were rooms on all sides, and water was probably brought in from a well and drained out after use. Important people took a dip in this tank on special occasions only. It was not meant for everyone. Other cities such as Kalibangan and Lothal had fire altars where sacrifices may have been performed, and some cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and Lothal had elaborate storehouses also. So till now we have studied about citadel, lower town, and in citadel we have learned that in Mohenjo-daro Great Bath was built, which was made with bricks and coated plasters. There were steps leading down to it from two sides, and there were water on all around, and there were rooms on all sides. Water was probably brought in from a well and drained out after use, and only important personalities took a dip in this tank on special occasions only. Other cities such as Kalibangan and Lothal had fire altars where sacrifices may have been performed. So, come to the next topic: houses, drains and streets. Generally, houses were either 1 or 2 stories high with rooms built around a courtyard. Most houses had a separate bathing area, and some had wells to supply water. In this topic, we are going to discuss about houses, drains and streets of the earliest cities. Here, first of all, we will discuss houses. Houses were either 1 or 2 stories high with rooms built around a courtyard. Most of the houses had a separate bathing area, and some had wells to supply water also. Many of these cities had covered drains, and these were laid out in straight lines. At that time, just imagine, these drains were laid out in straight lines, and you cannot see it. Each drain had a gentle slope so that water could flow through it. Very often, drains in houses were connected to those on the streets, and smaller drains led into the bigger ones. As the drains were covered, inspection holes were provided at intervals to clean them. All three, houses, drains and streets, were probably planned and built at the same time. Intricate, minute details were given there so that none of it can disturb the sanitation or perhaps it may include a lot of thinking, a lot of ideologies, but it was totally well planned thing. Okay, now see the next topic, that is life in the city. A Harappan city was a very busy place. There were people who planned the construction of special buildings in the city. Obviously, we have discussed about their houses and drains and streets also. So, they were people who used to plan each and everything, especially the construction work. These were probably the rulers. It is likely that the rulers sent people to distant lands to get metal, precious stones and other things that they wanted. They may have kept the most valuable objects such as ornaments of gold and silver or beautiful beads for themselves. There were scribes, those who have beautiful writings and people who knew how to write, who helped prepare the seals and perhaps wrote on other materials that have not survived. So, obviously, they were busy in their own world. There were men and women also, craftsperson who makes all kinds of things either in their own homes or in special workshops. People were traveling to distant lands or returning with raw materials and perhaps stories. Obviously, if one used to travel from one place to another in distant land, then they have many stories to tell. Many terracotta toys have been found and children must have played with this. Now see the next topic, new crafts in the city. See, some of the objects that were made in Harappan cities, we will discuss about it in this topic. Most of the things that have been found by archaeologists are made of stone, shell and metal, including copper, bronze, gold and silver. Copper and bronze were used to make tools, weapons, ornaments and vessels. Gold and silver were used to make ornaments and vessels. And perhaps the most striking finds are those of beads, weights and blades. The Harappans also made seals out of stone. These are generally rectangular and usually have an animal carved on them. They also made pots with beautiful black designs such as the one that is shown in your book also. See, cotton was probably grown at Mehergarh from about 7,000 years ago. Actual pieces of cloth were found attached to the lid of a silver vase and some copper objects at Mohenjo-daro. At Mehergarh about 7,000 years ago, probably cotton was grown because actual pieces of cloth were found from there. Some copper objects were found from Mohenjo-daro. Archaeologists have also found spindle wheels made of terracotta and faience, and these were used to spin thread. Many of these things that were produced were probably the work of specialists. A specialist is a person who is basically trained to do only one kind of work, like someone is a specialist of in different medicinal department, someone is a specialist of different kind of plant, someone is a specialist of different kind of making things, for example cutting a stone or polishing beads or carving seals, like that. Not everybody could have been a specialist. Obviously, we do not know whether only men were specialists or only women were specialists at that time, but perhaps some women and men may have been specialists. So for today we have completed our topic. Hope you all understood the cover topics well. In the next class we will continue this chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.